So thank you, Minister, so much for taking the time today. I want to get right into it, and I want to start with some questions that we've been getting from our viewers. The biggest question right now has been about connecting flights. So a lot of people who travel from India to Canada often have a connecting flight, a stopover. Some might have flights where maybe they're going to land in the US first and then come from the US to Canada. Can you talk about whether this has been discussed before this travel ban was put into place, and really how you're going to go about dealing with this?
Yeah. Thank you, Samit. And let me just say that this decision to cancel flights or ban flights from direct flights from India and Pakistan was not an easy one. This was a necessary one to protect the health and safety of Canadians. We promised Canadians from day one that we will do whatever it takes to protect them. And honestly, since last year, we've been telling people to avoid travel. So we've been pleading with people, now is not the time to travel. If we have stay-at-home orders in Ontario, then that means at least we shouldn't travel. The data, the last few weeks, the data have been really of concern for passengers coming from India and Pakistan. So we had to make that decision. And it's a temporary decision. Now, to your point about indirect travelers, yes, we've certainly looked into this. And now people can travel indirectly, but what we require them to do is at their stop to get out of the plane or maybe even the airport and get a test. They need to get a PCR test at their middle point, at their last point of departure, before being able to come to Canada.
Thank you. And when it comes to those travelers who are now stuck in India and Pakistan, I know the message has been, don't travel. But for those that had to go for essential reasons, whether it may have been a funeral or whatever, what do you suggest? Because some are waiting right for when the 30 days are over to rebook their flight for that date. Would you suggest to rebook, or would you suggest to just wait?
I would honestly suggest not to assume that the 30-day order is 30 days, because we don't know what the situation is going to look like 30 days from now. And as I said, if people are considering indirect flights, then they can do so, but they need to allow for a PCR test at the country in the middle where they're stopping, and that way they can still come back.
Got it. And when it comes to the mandatory quarantine hotels, this question particularly from my colleague in Vancouver, she said that in Vancouver, over 300 people have just walked away, decided they'll take the fine, and they don't want to quarantine. How will you continue to enforce the kind of that people follow these rules?
Yeah, look, these rules are really important, and they're done. Again, I know I sound like a broken record, but they're done to protect the health and safety of Canadians, and they're important. We're monitoring the compliance. And by the way, the tickets could be as high as $10,000. So I would not advise anybody to break that rule. But we are monitoring the compliance rate right now, and we are considering other measures that we can bring in to tighten that rule further.
Great. Those were my big questions. Is there anything else you want to say to our South Asian community regarding this?
I just want to say that, again, the last year has been very difficult on all of us. South Asian communities and the broader community has sacrificed a lot. Particularly, look, the South Asian community has been at the front line, have been doing a lot of the essential work that Canadians expect. Doctors, nurses, teachers, truck drivers, grocery store clerks, they've been on the front line, and we owe all of these workers a debt of gratitude and appreciation. And the rest of us have to follow public health advice to protect ourselves, to protect our loved one, and to protect those essential workers. And we're seeing right now in my area of Peel, in Brampton and Mississauga, a higher than normal of infection rates, because many of my neighbors work essential work type of jobs, and they really have to go to work. And this is really, so the rest of us have to make sure that we follow public health advice and to control the spread. So I know it's been difficult, but please avoid travel. Please follow public health measures. And I feel we are turning the corner. The vaccines are arriving by the millions. More than 25% of Canadians have been at least received one shot of the vaccine to date. More is happening over the coming weeks and months. I feel and I believe, it's more than a feeling, I believe that we're going to turn a massive corner in the coming weeks, but let's hang in there to look after each other for now.